Welcome back, people. So in today's tutorial we'll be making this pinafore dress. So we needing our lining, our hairstay, our fabric, our marker, and our pattern paper. So these are the measurements I'll be using. So the first measurement I'll be taking is my shoulder measurement. So my shoulder measurement is 16 divided by 2 8. So I'll be taking 1 inch away from 8. So that will be 7. So I'll be making use of 7 inches. 7 inches. So the next measurement I'll be taking is my full length measurement. I'll be using my under bust measurement because I'll be adding additional 2 inch for my band. So I'll be going with 14 and a half. 14 is my under bust plus half inch sewing allowance. So I'll be connecting it to my rule. So I'll be taking my neckline measurement 3 and a half. And my shoulder slope I'll be using 1 inch. So I'll be connecting it to my rule. So I'll be dividing my waist by 4, then I'll be dividing the answer by 2, then I'll be taking half inch from it. So I'll be connecting it to my rule. Remember, we're making a pinafore dress. So for my neck depth, I'll be using 4 and a half. So if you want it to be lower, you can come down by 1 inch, or if you want it to go up a little bit, so you can actually use 3. Now I'll be connecting it to my rule. So we'll cut. That's all for the front part. So this is the front part. Now for the back, we'll be using the front to cut at the back. So I'll just be drawing a straight line here to indicate my starting point. Then I'll be taking 1 inch all through. 1 inch all through for my zip allowance. So I'll connect it to my rule. So I'll be placing the front. So I'm just drawing this line to indicate my start point. So I'll make it a little bit straight. So for the back depth, I'll be using 3 and a half. Note that this 3 and a half, you are starting from the zip allowance. So I'll be taking same 3 and a half at the zip allowance, and I'll connect. So that's all for the back. We'll just cut. Now we'll cut it out. So we are cutting it out. Now the back, these are zip allowance. Now for the down part, which is the skirt, so the full length I'm using is 19 plus my allowance, and also I'm just taking off my half length to get my full length measurement, which is 34 and a half. So 19, I'll be taking 19 all through. 9 inches for my hip point, so the full length is 18 plus 1 inch allowance. That's how we arrived at 19. So now this is me just taking on my measurement. Now room. So this is my hip point, 9 inches. This is my full length, 18, and this is the allowance, additional 1 inch allowance, folding allowance. So on my waistline, I'll be taking my waist measurement. I arrived at this measurement by dividing my waist measurement by 4. And I'll be adding 1 inch for that, 1 inch for that. Then on my hip line, I'll be taking my hip measurement. Also, I arrived by dividing it by 4. While on my full length, I'll be taking my measurement also. Okay, now I'll be adding 1 inch seam allowance for sewing allowance, 1 inch, 1 inch. Now I'll connect with my rule. So just see the way I'm doing mine and do yours like that. So now for my darts, I'm using my nipple to nipple measurement 8 divided by 2, 4. So since there is slit at the down, I will also be using my nipple to nipple measurement for that. So for my dart, I'll be coming down by 4. I'll be taking ½ inch on both sides. Also for my slit, I'll be taking ½ inch on both sides, and I'll be going up by 4 also. Now I'll just connect with my rule. So now I'm connecting with my rule. So now I'll just cut it out. And that's it for the front part. Now for the back, we'll take 1 inch also for zip allowance. I'll be taking 1 inch for my zip allowance. Now I'll be placing the front. I will trace my dart and I'll cut. So now come down by 4. Is me imputing my dart also at the back. And now we are done with our pattern drafting. Now we are about to cut on our fabric. This is me placing my front and my back on the fabric, the half length on the fabric. So you just have to pin so when cutting it won't start moving. So aside from the neckline, all that I'll be adding ½ inch while cutting because I didn't put any seam allowance when drafting the paper. So now I'm done. If you notice, I added ½ inch all through while cutting it aside the neckline. So now I'll be cutting my interfacing. I'll be using my ST. So this is my ST. Yes, so I'll also pin so it won't move. Then I'll cut it out. So this is me cutting it out. Then so we are done with that. So I went on and ironed it. So I'll just be cutting out the excess. So I'll be having a neat edge. Neat edges. So I'll be cutting out the excess. So when I opened it, I noticed that my neckline wasn't deep enough, so I went down by extra 1 inch and I had to cut it out. So while cutting the skirt, I lost the video for it, but I'll just be explaining. So this is what I do. I placed it on my fabric and I just used the pattern to cut it out. I launched my darts so that I will know when sewing it. So for the slit, so for the slit, what I did was I took one part from the skirt and I just cut out my slit. Just one part, except you want the slit to be on both sides, so you can actually cut both sides, but me, I just want it to be on one side. So the pinafore we are also doing, the slit is also at one side of the skirt. So this is what I did. This is for you to understand better. So I just placed the pattern on the fabric and I took one side and I cut it out. So this is how it looks. So if you want your skirt to be longer, so you can also make it longer, but me, I always like my skirt to be short, so that's the reason mine is this short. Okay, now so I'll be cutting my lining. And also this is me cutting for my back too. Just place the fabric on it. So this is what I'm doing, and just trace it out. Please make sure your fabric is on fold. Make sure your fabric is on fold. So I'm launching my dart also. Make sure the fabric is on fold. So I'm also about to cut the lining for the back skirt. So I'm just trying to place my lining very well, so I won't be making any mistake. So that's what I'm actually doing. So I'm just using this to support where I cut. So just cut it out. So for the front part, for our half length, I'm also cutting the lining for it after ironing our ST. So you just have to cut the lining for it also, same as the back. And that is it, guys. Thank you. Please do wait to subscribe, and also see my next video on how to sew, cut our band, and also our bow tie. Thanks for watching.